Hello traders, in this video tutorial we'll talk about the intermarket correlations trading, and I will show you how to use these correlations between markets in your trading. Please read the risk disclaimer before we'll talk about correlations, and also please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can comment, you can share our videos, you can like our videos. Also please follow us on Instagram, and if you want to join our VIP Telegram group for full services to get all our signals, you can access the link posted right below this video. So let's take a look here at a few correlations. So when the US dollar index increases, the euro versus the US dollar should drop. So this is almost a perfect negative correlation. So we have a strong negative correlation between the DXY, the US dollar index, with the euro versus the US dollar. So when the index increases, the euro versus the US dollar should drop, and when the index drops, the pair should increase. Okay, gold. When gold increases, maybe the US dollar versus the Swiss franc will drop, guys, and when gold will drop, this pair could increase. Also, when the US oil increases, this pair, US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, could drop. So, or when this pair will maybe drop, the US oil could increase, the price of the US oil could grow. Okay. Also, when the US 30, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, could drop, could register a drop, maybe the Japanese stock index, the Nikkei, could drop as well. Okay, maybe these are not perfect correlations like this one here, but you can still use them in trading. Okay, and let's take a look on our platform here. I will use for this trading tutorial, I will use TradingView, this platform, and let's start here with the DXY. Okay, so all you have to do to identify correlations, you will maybe use DXY, the US dollar index, and we'll click here, compare. Right, and let's start with the euro versus the US dollar. Right, and you have here same scale, new price scale, and new pane. Okay, you can click directly here, and you can see here that when the price of the DXY, the US dollar index, drops, the euro versus the US dollar increases. You can see here live right now that the price of the DXY has decreased lately, and the euro versus the US dollar has increased. Right now we have a rally here on the daily, a rally in the DXY, and right now the euro versus the US dollar drops. Okay, I will delete this one from here, and I will go again here, euro versus the US dollar. So we set the same scale, new price scale. We can click on this one here as well, and you can see here as well that the markets, the DXY and the euro versus the US dollar, move, these two assets will move in opposite directions. Okay, so drop, increase, right now increase, drop, drop, here growth. So here is the euro versus the US dollar, and here is our DXY. Okay, so you can use this correlation, you can make also analysis on the DXY to know where or in which direction will move the euro versus the US dollar. So also very simple, when the DXY, the US dollar index, drops, you should expect that the US dollar will depreciate versus its rivals. Okay, could drop versus the euro, versus the pound, maybe versus the yen, versus the Swiss franc, versus the Canadian dollar, versus the Aussie, versus the New Zealand dollar. So you can use these correlations in trading, guys. And when the DXY drops, you should not go long on the US dollar, guys. Okay, so let's take a look again, and let's use also euro versus the US dollar. I want to show you again also this option here. So first we use this one. So let's take a look here, and now we'll have two charts here, two windows, and you can see here as well the DXY drops, the euro versus the US dollar increases. So the US dollar index here right now increases live. Today we had an important growth here registered by the US dollar index, and you can see that the euro versus the US dollar drops right now. Okay, and let's move forward and let's use the DXY maybe, and we'll compare, and let's identify a correlation with the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, right? And let's use this one here. And as you can see here, when the DXY drops, I've told you that the US dollar could depreciate. So we have a downside movement, a sell-off here as well on the US dollar versus the Swiss franc. Okay, you can see that we have here a positive correlation here this time. So when the DXY drops, you should expect that the US dollar versus the Swiss franc should drop as well. And right now, today, we had a rally in the DXY. The pair has rebounded, has increased in the short term. And I will use again US dollar versus the Swiss franc on the same scale. And you can see here as well. Drop registered by the DXY. We have a drop also on the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, guys. So here we have a positive correlation. You can use this one in trading. And also, let's take also another example, US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. So you can see here that we have an important downtrend here on the daily, and let's compare it maybe with the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, guys. Maybe it's not a perfect correlation here, but when the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar drops, we should expect that the US dollar versus the Swiss franc to drop as well, guys. And so when you are short maybe on the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, you should not buy the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, okay, because you are already short on the US dollar, guys. Okay, let's take another example, maybe the DXY again, and let's compare it with the price of gold. And let's see if we have a correlation here between these two. And as you can see here on the last one, maybe this one is not a perfect correlation, but you can still use it, because personally, when I'm short on the US dollar, I will not go short also on gold, okay? Or when I'm long maybe in the US dollar, I will not be maybe long in gold. Okay, you can see here that the DXY, the US dollar index, has decreased, and right now the price of gold increases, right? You can use this one as well in trading. Let's take a look again. Price scale. So you can see it here, because here the DXY drops, and right now the price of gold increases. Right now, live here in our daily chart here. So we had an important drop here registered by the DXY since March 31, and the price of gold has increased in the same period. You can use this correlation, this negative correlation, in trading as well. Also, let's take a look on gold, guys. Gold, and let's see, and let's compare it. One moment, because I want to delete this from here. Sorry, guys. Okay, and let's compare it, and let's identify what correlation we have with the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. So when, maybe it's not a very good one here, but usually when the price of gold increases, or the price of the Australian dollar versus the US dollar could increase as well, and also when the Australian dollar versus the US dollar, or the New Zealand dollar versus the Australian versus the US dollar will increase, then we could expect the price of gold to increase as well. Okay, this is not maybe a very good correlation, but again, when the price of the Australian dollar versus the US dollar increases, maybe you should not sell gold. Okay, you should not go short on gold when the Australian dollar versus the US dollar increases, and also when the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar increases, you should not go short on gold. Okay, let's take a look again here. So you can see that the price of gold has increased, also the Australian dollar versus the US dollar has increased as well. Okay, also gold, and let's compare it with the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, and let's see. I believe we have, yeah, we have a negative correlation between these two, right? Right now here live, you can see that the price of gold has increased and the price of the US dollar versus the Swiss franc have decreased. Okay, and right now the price of gold has plunged. We have a strong sell-off today here live, and the US dollar versus the Swiss franc has increased here, right? Also, let's take another example, such as the US oil. US oil, so here we have the US oil. One moment, and let's compare it with the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar on the same scale here, or let's use maybe another US dollar versus the Canadian dollar here. So please take a look here at this one. So when the US oil increases, the price of the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar should drop, or when you think that the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar should drop and could drop, then you should expect that the price of the US oil could increase. Okay, you can use this negative correlation, strong negative correlation, in trading, because it is very important for you to understand when maybe this market, the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, drops, when the US dollar depreciates versus the Canadian dollar, maybe you should expect that the price of the US oil to increase, guys. Okay, let's move forward and let's take another example. Let's take a look also on gold again, and let's take a look and let's identify maybe a potential correlation here with the euro versus the US dollar. You can use maybe this platform trading view to identify these correlations, or maybe you can search for a potential, I don't know, a Forex correlations calculator, or you can maybe download, search for something like an indicator for your MetaTrader platform, MetaTrader 4 or 5, so you can download and install potential or a calculator, a correlations calculator, or something like an extension like EA, an export advisor, okay, for your platform. But you can use as well this trading view to identify these correlations. So please take a look here. Gold, euro versus the US dollar. You can see here live that the price of gold has increased lately. So we have here a swing higher, and we have a swing higher, an upside movement also on the euro versus the US dollar, right? Today is sell-off. Today is sell-off here in euro versus the US dollar. Also, let's take a look. US 30, let's say, Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, US stock index, and let's take a look and let's compare it with the Japanese stock index, with the Nikkei. And that's okay. Maybe it's not a perfect one, but you can still use it, guys. So when the Dow Jones Industrial Average increases, we may have an increase also on the Japanese stock index, on the Nikkei, right? A temporary drop here, a drop here. Also right now, an important growth here, again registered by the US 30, and also the Japanese stock index, the Nikkei, has increased as well. Thank you guys for watching this video tutorial. Now you know how to use these correlations in trading. Please guys, if you want to have access to all our signals, to get all our signals, or if you want to have access to our live webinars, live trading webinar sessions, please subscribe to our Telegram VIP group, to our VIP Telegram group here, Learn to Trade Go Premium. Please subscribe guys to our YouTube channel, it is very important. You can comment, you can share our videos, you can like them. Also, you will receive a notification every time we will go live, or every time we will upload new videos here in our YouTube channel. You can visit our website, Learn to Trade, and you can also follow us on Instagram. It is very important. You can comment there as well, and you can get more VIP content in our Instagram. Thank you guys. See you next time. Bye bye.